Hi, welcome to today's podcast, and we are actually doing two Facebook group together. We are doing the Norman's private reserve Facebook group, and also Growing Orchid for Dummy. And this is the Growing Orchid for Dummy is the one that Jeff Young and Jamie started for beginner, and hopefully we'll pass on some of the uh, correct growing technique for you. I know there's lots of information on the internet and YouTube. And for lots of you from the Growing Orchid for Dummy, my name is Norman Fang, and I'm the founder and orchid grower for Norman's Orchid Nursery. We founded the company back in 1986 and in Montclair, California. And I have a degree in ornamental horticulture, minor in chemistry, also growing, and plant tissue culture. So I like to invite you to subscribe my YouTube channel called Norman's Orchid, and there are over 100 video already. We started in March 2020 because we were locked down for the COVID, and it has been every week. Jeff, my producer, have been really improve the audio. So there are some older audio maybe not as good. So like today, we actually fashion with the new wireless speaker. Okay, so if you are not a YouTube channel subscriber yet, even on the VIP group, please subscribe, because that way you can notify with a new video that we do. Okay, so today's topic is pests and the disease for summer growing. And many of you know we do not like to use hardcore fungicide. In fact, we haven't been using any hardcore fungicide at the nursery for about almost 20 years by now. And one of the reasons is you really don't need to have a lot of pesticide and fungicide to grow orchid, especially if you are growing this as a hobby. And what I like to pass on is a lot of the preventative and culture technique that you actually can have more fun of growing orchid rather than trying to say, oh my god, what should I do now? And I also want to reframe, if you're a beginner, I know many of you like to rescue orchid from the department store, or sometimes that is maybe a good practice, but it's actually on the same time maybe not a very good practice way. The plant are really stressed, and they why is the plant are really stressful? Sometimes you actually might bring in pest and disease plant into your own personal collection. So I know prices can be very tempting, but if the plant are limp, weak, it's actually going to cost you more money. Try to do fungicide, try to do buy pesticide, to do repotting. You might as well start with a healthy plant from a good professional orchid nursery to do from there. Okay, so how are we doing? Do we have any people coming from both area or just one area? Okay, so the number one, okay, I never like to answer any question about what should I use for fungicide, what should I use for this. No, yes, I do have a licensed pesticide applicator in California. In California, as an owner of any operation in nursery, we are required by law to have a pesticide applicator license. Yes, this even if I want to subcontract the pesticide application to an outsider, a third-party company, the professional nursery. Yes, we are have a legitimate nursery stock, the Department of Agriculture come to California, come to our nursery inspect twice a year. A pesticide applicator license, that means that we know without a license, you cannot even buy pesticide. I know this is kind of strange, but yes, in California, we have to turn in the monthly report to the California Agriculture Department. Yes, as simple as reach that we use. Everything had to import it. Without the applicator license, you cannot even purchase any pesticide, for example. It's kind of funny because I went on the internet and boy, you can buy a lot of stuff on the internet. And stuff that even not legal in California anymore. So, before you use any really hardcore pesticide or fungicide in your collection, I know we have audience from California to Oregon to Florida. Many of you grow outdoor, okay? Many of you grow indoor. So we try to cover for everybody. Now, number one, okay, we have a previous podcast on summer pest podcast. So you can actually look on the past one on the previous video. Today we only focus on disease. Okay. Now, how many of you think this summer is cool or this summer is really extremely hot? For me, this is probably one of the worst summer we have. And we in Southern California, 80% of the orchid that we grow, we only grow orchid here, is indoor under professional greenhouse. And you can tell right now, Jeff, this is actually the second curtain, the shade. So we can
2 layers.
Okay, 2 layer. And can you see the wall? Okay, this is the wet pad. Okay, it's very similar to the swamp cooler-ish. Okay, Jeff, that's good. So outside there's a hot and dry air. Go to this wet pad, and then come in here. It will be cooler and moist. So in the summertime, you want to keep your plant as comfortable as possible. Okay, with that means try to keep the temperature below 85 degrees. I know it's hard if you go orchid outdoor. Okay, now if you live in South Florida or Central Florida or in the South, plant analysis is perfectly to go outdoor, especially the novelty. They love the heat. Now, but you can prevent the disease air movement. Okay, this is why we have 24 hours. Can you take a picture of the fan? Yeah. There's always constantly 24-degree air movement in the greenhouse. So
I think you have about 15 fans in here, don't you?
Yes, yeah. So you can do that at your home. Hey, it's comfortable for you. I know a lot of times if you go under light, for example, it'll be in a house, you have different layer. So buy some of the small attachable different smaller fan on your light rack stand. If you go outdoor, I know I love to go outdoor, even in Southern California. Under the gutter, for example, put some of the waterproof the fan. 12 inches, for example. You can put it on a timer. I know a lot of time outdoor do have a natural air movement depending on where you live. If you don't have what you really need to have an extra air movement is during the hottest part of the day. That could be from 11 to 4, depending on where you are. So you can put it on a timer, but the idea is constant moving the air. So once the air temperature is cooler, they are less stressed. When they are plant are less stressed, they are more disease resistant. Okay, picture this. A lot of these orchids that we've been growing today, even though they're hybrid, but they all original species all come from the jungle. They could mount themselves on the tree, or the Phalaenopsis can be attached on the trunk of the tree. The paving painting could be a terrestrial on the ground. Nobody spray fungicide on them, right? Nobody spray pesticides on them. Yes, the leaf might not be perfect, but nobody for sure have fungicide on them. So the plant itself do have an immune system. Okay, so it's us when we are actually over the year, over 100 years, starting with British Horticultural Society, the royal sent the collector to collect orchid out of jungle, and then decided to put it in the enclosed greenhouse and with no air movement. And that's with a greenhouse, it's nice to protect from heat and cold, but if you don't take care of it, it can be an incubator for pest and disease. So let me talk a couple of examples. You notice how we have a beautiful arrangement here, okay? Now, I like to use Phalaenopsis. This is what we call the standard Phalaenopsis. Okay, many of you like to say, well, let it keep blooming. I, for one, like to encourage people. And I know we have many beginners today. You always want to frame your tool per plant. Every time you make a cut, a physical contact to any part of the plant, you always want to frame the tool. That way, and then before I move on to the second plant, once I finish one, I always frame it and let it cool off. Then I have a second one here that I framed earlier. It's been cooled off already. So start cutting off all the older leaf, all the spike. This is a perfectly unsealing. Okay. The plant, the flower, have been flower for a long time. And right now it is a summertime. Summertime means they want to go into the vegetative stage. So cutting back all this, the flower spike, for example, on the Phalaenopsis, you give the plant a rest, and then they're going to spend all the energy put it on new leaf. This new leaf is coming up here. You see here, emerging. You do need to have couple leaf the whole season, minimum one leaf, because every time they have more leaf, there will be an emerging node for potential more new spikes. So you do have, if you don't, I know there are some area in Orange County, there are coastal area, they're very cool, like San Francisco, for example. The plant, the day temperature rarely go about 85. So the plant, the Phalaenopsis, will keep blooming and blooming, especially the big standard type. It takes a lot of energy for them. So you need to physically cut them off and just use the flower as a cut flower. And the fresh cut flower will last at least 2 weeks, okay, for you. And that way the plant itself, this is the plant still okay. I can decide to do a repotting, but that would be a different topic. Okay, so that way all the energy will be going to produce the leaf instead of keep doing focus on the flower. And here's another, the Phalaenopsis, for example. I know there's a way you can get the secondary spike by cutting off to here, all right? And then you have a secondary spike. But this is just a young plant. This is a very young, 2.5 to 3 years of plant for me. I'm ready to cut it all the way to the base. And Jeff, can you see the root? And the root is kind of dull color, did not really the vibrant green color anymore. So this will be the one that we'll set aside. Will be a different week. You can do it for a repotting. So we will do that another one Pretty simple. Okay. Why do I think the water is the most important on the disease prevention. I actually put all this right here. Okay.
Yeah, I'm afraid I'm going to get wet.
No, it's so hot. We might have water here.
Water fight?
No.
That would be cheating, Norman.
This is one of the things that I learned from, being a horticulturist. We go to college for anything ornamental horticulture. Yes, we do have the plant pathology. And one thing I took registered with me, and I use it since 1986. And it's a very simple trick. You don't have to buy expensive pesticide chemical. When you turn on your water, especially the summertime, okay, do not use the water to water your plant or even your garden plant. Two reasons: the water in here has been, guess what, probably more than 2 hours ago, right? If you're in Southern California or any hot area, the water will be burning hot. If you put this and water on your, let's say, orchid, phalaenopsis, you're gonna burn them. Okay. Secondly, in research, and this is true, anytime you have a standing water for more than 2 hours, there's a pathogen, the water mold, fungi, that will cause all the summer rotting. Okay, we're talking about the crown rot or the leaf rot. It's called Pythian and Phytophthora. Okay, anytime the standing water is longer than 2 hours, the Pythian and Phytophthora will be in this hose. So you actually spreading the disease if they are present in there. So it's always good practice. When I water the plant here, we always tell our staff to let it go for 2 hours, to about 2 to 3 minutes, enough to flush out the water been standing here. A lot of time could be last week, could be 3 days ago, unless they are less than 2 hours ago. Chances are the Pythian already built up here. Let alone, and secondly, your water breaker, okay, is always a good practice. The water breaker, I always remove them. Okay, because sometimes we all never wanted to let the water breaker touch the floor. Once you touch the floor, it pick up the dirt, it pick up the fungi, and they will be attached to the water breaker. And then when you water the plant, you actually spread the disease. So this is why a lot of you think, what caused this? How come I have crown rot right now? Okay, all right. So let me get this hose out of the way first. Okay, now, secondly, I'm gonna pass this out, and we use this. We only share what we use here. We sell what we use here. We do not have a pesticide or a wall of a chemical. This has been proven, and I'm gonna pass this to. Okay, you don't have to buy Roundup. Okay, I don't have a Roundup, but we do have to keep the weed out the greenhouse. Okay, so this is what we use here. Very inexpensive. Okay, buy the most economical distilled vinegar. Okay, so that is 1 gallon. The 1 gallon of vinegar, 1 cup, about 16 ounces of regular table salt. We all have this in the kitchen, and a tablespoon of the household detergent. Okay, so you want to dilute it in another bucket. And so this is the if you want to do less than this, I think it's a good practice because we use the outdoor, the greenhouse. This will kill the weed. You want to kill the weed outside the greenhouse, outside your home, outside of your growing area. Why is that? Well, weed has a potential, a host for the fungi to hide them. Because even if we use a 5 cent, for example, the weeds there. Okay. Secondly, if you are going in a greenhouse, we can never use the any of the weed killer. Okay, I want to say any of weed killer. We don't want to name any Roundup or any pest Roundup. For example, the reason being, and this has been documented, in the winter time, guess what? In the greenhouse, when the night temperature is cool, you have condensation, right? If you use a Roundup in your greenhouse, and in the fall, the condensation from the Roundup, guess what? They go up to the roof, and especially if you have either fiberglass or poly sheet. The next morning, when the sun's up, the condensation with the Roundup dilution is gonna come down, and guess what? They're gonna kill or cause leaf spot or damage to your orchid. Okay, so in your greenhouse, if many of you have lucky enough to have a greenhouse, okay, or if in South Florida, you do not want to have Roundup for the weed in your growing area anyway, all right? Because Roundup cause cancer. So you want, okay? So this is proven, and we have updated, and we have been using this formula, especially we kind of fine-tuned it this year in the greenhouse, and we even spray on the pad, the cooling pad. So if you have a cooling pad in the greenhouse, or if you have, for example, swamp cooler, okay, the 4-wall swamp cooler. One way to do it is using 5 cents, and another way is you can actually use this in the summertime, especially over the winter. The swamp cooler is not using, so most likely the algae might be there on the pad. So spray this formulation. This actually will kill the algae. Once the algae is killed, guess what? Your wet wall is going to work more efficiently. So they're going to cool off the greenhouse. You're going to use less energy. The plant is happier, so they're going to have less disease for you. Okay, it all coming in a circle. It's a ebb and flow. Okay, so that is the water issue. Okay, so get this formulation. All right, make sure you spray outside the greenhouse also. Outside the greenhouse, it worked really well for my yard because I have pet. We have cat. There's about 20 stray cat in my area here, in my neighborhood here, and they take care of all the mice or the rodent problem. And I don't want to spray anything that those cat can be harmed. And they're alone. You know, I don't know how much the Roundup costs now. Also, in pretty soon, we might not be able to get some of the herbicide in California because they want to brewery. California is tougher than EPA. All right, and save money for you. So the money you save, you can spend on orchid. Okay, so always don't buy the really expensive one when you do this. Okay, buy the get the old one that you don't want to use anymore. The least expensive. Okay, I think my managers love doing this. My manager, he love it. My office managers just love doing this because he's sitting in the office most of the time. A $10 from the big box store, okay, will last about a couple months for him. And then he does a good spray. We do summertime is our house cleaning time. Okay, don't let it. Once you make it up, use them all. It doesn't make sense to leave it in there overnight. Guess what? They're gonna corrupt the part. Okay, so if you want to let the machine go longer, when you finish them, put water back in there. Then run through the water. Let the water just go to the line because this is very acid.
So you want to flush it out.
Yeah, they're gonna run out the pot. You're gonna flush it out, everything. Okay, so that way we start doing that also we don't want to have algae on the floor. It kill the weed. It kill the algae. You know, algae have be a problem in the greenhouse. You know, it slip. Okay, this is why the back of the greenhouse is we don't let people go in there because they're not like the sales floor in the front or have concrete. Insurance company hate that if we take people back there. Okay, algae on the floor, algae on the wall of your greenhouse, algae on the growing pad when you go on the light. Okay, this algae actually is the food source for a lot of this fungus on them. Okay, so all right. Now, if you are the homeowner, I'm gonna use this one. This is another perfect example of the Zygopedia. This is another one, the thyme. Now, if you have Zygopedia or Miltonopsis, yes, cut off the spike, but do not repot them right now. They hate to be repot in the summertime. Okay, they do not like to be repot in the summertime. Remember my previous podcast on the Miltonia and Zygopedia? The summertime in the heat is actually going to their dormant stage. So I just cut them off. Okay, any of the yellow one, I usually just pinch them off. That way the water will not stay in here. Okay, once the water collect there, they might have fungus problem. Okay, so because I'm in California, if you're in Oregon, your temperature day and night is cool. Yes, you can repot it, but if you're in the very hot area in the south, like myself, Texas, New Mexico, Louisiana, South Florida, or even Northern California, do not repot it right now. Just let it enjoy their summer break. Okay, so for Miltonopsis, on stadium, the cool growing type of the Megarosa, and Zygopedia. Once you finish flower, make sure you cut off the older spike. Okay. Don't let just leave it go there and then that sometimes I want to see them, then it die back naturally, then it turn yellow. No, they actually become more problematic for the disease point of view. Alright, got this taken care of. Now what happened here? What about what caused the disease? Okay, what? So you had this already, I can get it. Okay, I'm just going to the nursery and I'm going to show you two examples. Okay, and there's two here, and there's one is not a disease related issue. And anybody want to guess which one? Which one is a disease and which one is not? This, or do you think that both of them have disease? Okay. This, for example, is not disease. This is actually sunburn. Yes, this is have a disease issue, but the plant itself does have the mechanism or immune system, so it did not spread. It's not the kind of contagious type of disease that overnight. Okay, it usually started at a point of entry. You see here, the spot here. Jeff, can you go to this spot here? Okay, this is probably by any means. There's a spot that go in here, and this is the entry spot. Could be all this fungi mycelium. They cannot actually penetrate into the tissue without the presence of the water. Okay, so this is why air circulation water in the morning. It's okay to get the leaf wet. You just do not want to get them too wet or overnight, for example. So that's how the disease, the pathway, it just happened. Might be a physical damage. So sometimes when we move the plant, our fingernail might have a cut, and there's thousands of fungi in the air. We breathe in it. That's how some people have asthma, or we have allergy from the pollen, from everything. It's just present in there, but the plant itself do have a immune system. And we also, if you first time with us, we always say we always use a Physan as a preventative program, and we water the plant once a month with a teaspoon, not tablespoon. The tablespoon is too strong to do it every month. We use a teaspoon of Physan per gallon of water to water everything. So it's such a self-contained, for example. And so when you're in a situation like this, and this is why I walk the nursery, we inspect the nursery. When you see this, and I do not want the plant to continue to have infection like this. And I do not have any, usually I like to use razor blade on this, and I do have a razor blade here. It's nice to have several tools, and I can get it cool off. Okay. Sometimes for the leaves cutting, I like to use the single blade laser blade, and I like to cut two and expand it, and two at least couple inches lower, and just discard the tissue. Once the tissue has been cut, just separate them, let it dry out so they won't get missed it. For example, I like to use a lot of, so I have a collection of the victim here. Oh, here's one. What caused this one here? It's actually that one is actually from the sunburn. Okay, over the winter, we grow off Phalaenopsis. You know, this is the perfect example. There's some new leaf coming up, very new leaf, and I'm going to wash my hand. I usually have a bucket of this, maybe a gallon of water, and I have Physan. For Physan, for disinfection, I use a tablespoon per gallon of water. You can also wear the glove. I usually wear the glove when I'm working on the disease plant. You notice this is all same plant. When a new leaf are forming, they are very young, tender, and soft. Okay, so this leaf was like this. Okay, so with the summers is coming, and all of a sudden we have in June we have a 95 degree. Okay. And we did not have enough time to whitewash. Whitewash means that we put an extra shade on the outside of the greenhouse. So there's lots of light in the greenhouse. So this, the soft leaf like this, very tender. Well, this is caused by what we call excess sun. And if I don't move it to the shady location, it will become a permanent damage. Okay, so this discoloration in this case is not a disease. Okay, but it's okay. This is just a physiology symptom that you tell the plant, hey, I don't like giving it too much light. So you can do is you don't have that problem when you go under light. Okay, that's the nice thing about going under light in the house. When you are outside in the patio, do watch out. There's always the season between the spring and summertime. Make sure you reduce the light when the summer comes, and then give them more light in the fall and winter before they spiking. All right. Here's another example. Now, this is caused by the pigeon. And Jeff, there is a, we pinch off the frog. There is the frog spikes, but we did pinch off. Okay, and a lot of the leaf, especially the pink and lavender, the leaf structure, we pinch off. There was a spike coming up, but did not form, so the grower part pinched off. But instead of dry them up, it was perfect storm. It got infection, so you can tell the infection is far from here. Can you see the black spot down there? Okay, no problem. It did not cause a big problem yet. So when you have this situation like this, you don't even have to use the razor blade. Okay, I'm gonna put this out so Jeff can see the infection. This is the pigeon, and this is some early stage of the fungi spore. Once the fungi spore mature, they're gonna go over the air. They're gonna splash in the water, gonna go plant to plant to plant. So it's actually good to remove them. Okay. And many of you have learned the trick from me. The cut surface, you don't have to touch anything. Remember, 5 cents is just put a simple drop of the concentrated 5 cents. Not pour from here, but put it on the cup here without touching anywhere. Again, and let dry. Okay, and let dry. And that will kill all the infection. If you don't do that, I think the infection is gonna go all the way to the crown, and then kill the whole entire plant from the base. Okay. Novelty Phalaenopsis. Novelty Phalaenopsis is the one that love the heat. And they're not the big flower type, they have fragrance. There are some, the season is coming. So here's another inspection. There's a whole tray of this, and I pick up one of this. Okay. This is not a disease. This is part of the senescence, part of the changing season. The new leaf is coming up. I generally do not like to remove them, because once you remove it by force, they will have a cut surface. Once the cut surface, then you expose the plant to pathogen attack. So for me, I like to let it grow up, turn off naturally. Once they turn off naturally, because they're sending back all the extra resource into the mother plant, and then once the plant are dry off, they detach themselves. So there is no life wound there. Okay, but you do want to cut off the previous older spike. Okay, and this is the time to make sure you always pick up the older leaf. Okay, I usually come up with this bucket. Okay, older leaf. Okay, here's another one. Check out older leaf, and guess what? The new spike is coming, and I'm gonna cut off the older leaf, older spike here. I do not want any, yellow or spike, because there can be a host of potential for fungus. So leave this one alone. Okay, what happened when you do have a crown rot? Okay, this is what we did. I think Jeff, we did this last year, right? Right.
You're looking in the spring.
This is spring. Okay, good.
Yeah.
What happened? You do have a crown rot. Hey, nothing's perfect. This is the case of ringer starter gigantea, the foxtail orchid. They are belong to bandaceous. They're very valuable. This is one of the orange one. Sometimes because we have too many plants, we might destroy away. But this is the perfect 2 example. We just say, yeah, yes, you can save the plant. Okay, and then.
So just for review, I think in the spring you went through and topped it, right? I think you cut the top off.
No,
and then you applied.
This one had a crown. This 2 here had a crown rod. This is the 2 had a crown rod.
You did kiki paste on these, right?
Yes, yes. So I'm gonna, because this is for Tommy.
And so the new growth is from the kiki paste.
Yeah, you see here? We what we did before, and then we're gonna do it again, kind of repeat, because this has happened fall in the spring. I'm gonna put some more of this concentrated Vicen in the crown. Okay. And then we have the Norman's 2-in-1 kiki paste. And this one here is wonderful. Jeff, if you can see, they actually had 3 in here. And I think they have recovered well. And I'm trying to be a doctor here, orchid doctor here. See here? I'm going to remove some of this older tissue and expose them. And when I fill in them, I can feel the kiki paste from last time. Okay? You see here? The reason I'm topping it again is I'm actually reducing the apical dominant, so that way the plant can have even more kiki coming from here. Okay, this is a very nice old plant. Okay, so once you cut this kiki paste, then tomorrow, after 24 hours, when it dry up, I can put the Norman's Ultimate 2-in-1 kiki paste. This is the one that can give kiki from the plant and also on short leaf. So we already seen some of the kiki already, and this one here I just did the top, so you're gonna have minimum 3 from the base here for the plant. So this is how, if you do have a crown rod, even Vanda, for example, or Cattleya. And here's another tool, a miniature Phalaenopsis that had crown rod. Okay, a good cross up. A lot of time, when we do have a valuable plant, and we try to save the plant. So here's the crown rod. The main one already died back. Have a nice cake coming up. And now we can revisit and kind of do a house cleaning here again. And when we do this, we also put it in a separate area so they don't get dry, they don't get water. You can tell the potting media is so dry. It's good. The dryness causing the stress, so the plant, with the help of hormone, the kiki paste, we're trying to form kiki. And since I do the second session again, I'm gonna put this in the center. Okay, again, concentrated Vicen. Okay, let it dry 24 hours. Tomorrow, I'm gonna use a Q-tip and put it on here again. Alright, I have a really nice save the plant already. This one will have shoot like this in about 4 to 6 months. Okay, so this is what you can do with crown rod. Crown rod usually caused by the water, because the way Phalaenopsis grow, the water tends to stay inside. The water tends to stay inside, and summertime right now, warm day, warm night, especially like 75 degrees at night, It's perfect temperature for Pythian and Phytastra. So if the right combination, that's why they will have crown rot. Okay, so that is not the end of the world. You can do what I did earlier. Separate the plant, just put it in your laundry room, for example. It's nice and cool indoors, so you don't accidentally water the plant. Okay? How are we doing on time? Okay. Put this away, and this is another one. See, all this we haven't been able to water the plant.
I put those signs on it.
Yeah,
Water.
they don't get water.
They've been sitting here for
3
months. Yeah.
Without water, but in the greenhouse. Okay, so now I can take out the sign because I got 2 nice new plants coming up. Do not repot it, do not separate it. Just let, now I can resume the regular watering. Okay, so if you go a lot of Vanda, sometimes Vanda do that. Okay, because Vanda love moisture. Okay. A lot of time your novelty Phalaenopsis is in season. This is also time to, if you go under like inspection of your greenhouse or if your pot, make sure you take the time. I also, the easiest way to get rid of the oxalis, I hate this. Sometimes oxalis just come with the weed, come with the wind. Just take it out the pot. You want to make sure you get all this rhizome out of below it. Otherwise, even if you pour the weed from the top, they still come. They do have their own system down below. So on the novelty, the spring bloomer might be finished. Go ahead and pinch off. Okay, and this is a nice healthy plant. We don't need to repot them, so go back to the bench, go to the area. And this one, for example, here, oh, a problem. Guess what? Take it out. Always check out the root system. There is no good root system, so this is the one I will save it for next week when we do the repotting. Okay, so this definitely need to be repot this year. Cannot be wait, because a lot of time if the plant will tell you they're not happy. And always about the root system. Okay. All right. How are we doing? Okay. And lots of novelty. I just give you an example. Here again, another weed problem. Oxalis is a big problem. The trouble with the you should look under the leaf. Okay. This is a very big old plant, and I like to do this because instead of letting dry back, the plant have cakey. It actually have 3 plants, so I'm actually physically remove them away from it. So I want to get more air out of here because there's a lot of actually 3 plants. A lot of plants like Berlina and Valencia hybrid, they do cakey themselves in the summertime. So that way I'm actually giving the plant more air movement in here. So let it dry out, and I have a spray bottle. Yeah, you should use 5 cents. You can, there's a 2 way you can you should use 5 cents, or you can use also the vinegar. But vinegar I use for home on the orchid. It's not distilled vinegar. The distilled vinegar is cheaper, but you use it for coating the weed. For the home situation, I use the the organic apple cider vinegar. Okay, the reason I like to use this, some people might not have allergic reaction to the 5 cents, for example. Then is that the case? Then use the organic apple cider vinegar. It's wonderful. Okay, it's also for about 25 ounce. You can start using about a small teaspoon per bottle, and to spray the leaf. You can use that. It's not going to kill something, but it's going to prevent a lot of this 5 cents. a lot of these fungi. You know what? Guess what? This Petian and Phytophthora. The reason, if the orchid don't grow in the moss, they usually don't have a root rotting problem. That's because the moss is very acid. Yeah, actually sometimes 4.5, 4.0 is below 6. So that kind of acid moss as a medium is natural prohibit it suppress the Petian and the Phytophthora. So I mean with this, okay, depending on the pH of your water. My water here and pH is about 8.5. Okay, so by adding a small teaspoon of this, the pH go down to about 6 or below, about 5.7, and on slightly acid, and it's wonderful to spray. Okay, it will not kill the plant. You can actually use it for extra humidity on the plant, and spray onto the foliage. The acid and the moisture also going to prevent the mite damage. If you have a mite, I know there's a lot of area have mite problem this year. Mite hate moisture, so make sure when you spray the bottom leaf, and mite also do not like acid water. Okay, so this is a preventative program. All right, so how are we doing so far? Good. So if you follow all this rule, okay, a technique, make sure in your growing area, whether it's outdoor or indoor, twice a year we do this, spring cleaning. We do a late spring cleaning. Right now, you want to get ahead of the summer disease problem. Okay, then preventative is actually better than trying to spend all the chemical and money. And especially if you're growing indoor as a house plant, don't be a mess. If you have to spray pesticide and fungicide, that means you have to put everything outdoor in the porch, and then sometimes they are exposed to the heat, and then you want to make sure they air out before you put all your stuff in the house again. If you can all do this sanitation, a good habit, pick up all the old leaf, less weed inside the greenhouse, in the growing area, in your house surrounding area, you're going to cut down a lot of the problem that can feed on all this pest and disease. Okay, so thank you for joining us today, and if you found the Orchid for Dummies side, please do subscribe the Norman's Orchid channel, and so that way we will have the podcast every week most of the time, and then you got alert. And if you like what we have, do share the video to your friend. Okay, we do what we preach here. We've been here since 1986 in Southern California, and we do have a website. We sell what we grow here. Everything's from our own greenhouse, and our website is orchids.com.
This is one of the 20 greenhouses here on the property. You can see we're actually filming and working inside the greenhouse.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, and
there's going to be no show and tell this week.
There'll be no show and tell this week. Okay, but if you found the VIP session part, Jamie still have some jumper, and for the people in the Orchid for Dummy group, if you feel confident that you want to be really export yourself to some of rural exotic and some of advanced intermediate advanced culture, you can also cross over to join the Norman's private reserve group.
Norman's private reserve.
Okay, so it's kind of fun. Okay, and I do thank you for joining us today, and I will do a session on the repotting moss next week. A lot of handout. So we actually might repeat some of the session was before, but now with a better audio and better lighting system, I think we're actually going to repeat some of the older version with some new twists into some of the new crop tests. Okay, thank you so much, and stay cool. Bye bye.